votes for President of the United States are as follows. Joseph R. Biden, Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 232 votes.
It's official. Joe Biden has been certified by Congress as the next president of the United States.
It comes after a chaotic day with a violent mob incited by President Donald Trump storming the Capitol in a bid to overturn the election.
Images that shocked the world. We'll have the latest from Washington on what it'll take to restore America's standing on the world stage. This is the Straits Times Newsnight. I'm Chao Suen.
I'm Dylan Ang. Great to have you with us this Thursday evening. The latest from Washington in a moment, but first, this just in, the World Economic Forum annual meeting will now take place in Singapore from May 25th to 28th, nearly 2 weeks later than earlier slated.
The conference, which gathers top political, business and academic leaders to discuss pressing global issues, was originally slated to be held from May 13th to the 16th. WEF did not respond to queries on when and why the meeting date was changed.
Over in Washington, D.C., it's a brand new day. Joe Biden's presidency is certified and Donald Trump is promising an orderly transition on January the 20th.
It's a far cry from just a few hours ago when the world watched in horror as guns were drawn and the Capitol building was overrun by a mob of pro-Trump supporters. Scenes we never thought we'll get to see, U.S. lawmakers forced to halt the process of certifying the election results as hundreds of rioters fought with the police, storming the building regarded as a symbol of American democracy. The violence and chaos left 4 people dead, including a woman who was fatally shot by police.
During a rally earlier in the day, Trump called on his supporters to march to the Capitol and even suggested that he might join them before he ultimately returned to the White House. Some members of Congress are calling for him to be removed from office.
As calm returns to the U.S. Capitol, the forced hush over Donald Trump's social media accounts may soon be lifted. The real Donald Trump Twitter account has deleted the 3 tweets that Twitter had flagged as posing a risk and will be locked for 12 hours. Twitter had threatened to permanently suspend the account should Trump continue to violate its policies. Facebook, who owns Instagram, has also blocked Trump from posting on its platforms for 24 hours.
President Trump has promised an orderly transition of power on Inauguration Day, even though he says he disagrees with the election outcome. The Straits Times U.S. Bureau Chief Nirmal Ghosh has more on what we can expect in the coming hours and days.
Basically, in 13 days, the inauguration of January 20th, that is probably going to proceed and he's committed to it. But also in between, there have been calls for Donald Trump's impeachment by some congressmen and even Republicans. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is drawing up articles of impeachment. There is also talk of trying to have him removed under Article 25, which means the president is unfit for office and you replace him with the vice president. However, there's very little time left for these procedures. Article 25 needs a majority of the cabinet to agree, and the majority of his cabinet is still intact. Impeachment needs a process, of course. As we saw, the House has to vote and then the Senate has to vote, needs a majority. So, they have a good case, presumably, but the time is short and maybe they would just run out the clock, basically. And I think law enforcement will be a little bit more on their toes now that they've experienced what happened yesterday.
The scenes of protest and violence are appalling, but should not have come as a surprise. That's according to former U.S. President Barack Obama, who said that history will rightly remember this day as a moment of great dishonor and shame for the nation. As Nirmal tells us, it leaves Joe Biden with a huge task ahead.
Joe Biden will restore conventional diplomacy. He will refrain from shrill public diplomacy, which was the characteristic of Donald Trump. And remember that President Trump's his strategy is always to attack, never to retreat, always attack, always counterattack. And President Trump basically pours fuel on fires rather than calms them. Joe Biden is almost the opposite kind of person. He's not going to do that. So there will be some accountability as well at home. It's very important that America has a reckoning with itself over what happened on Wednesday. There have been people arrested, but we'll have to see what happens, and also what happens to President Trump, what the follow-up is for President Trump, because there's a chance that there will be charges filed against him after he's left office. However, it must be remembered that there is still a lot of anger out there, in America. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Joe Biden to stabilize the ship. But just stabilizing the ship will probably be a big plus after this.
Photojournalists have taken some incredible pictures to show the world what happened in the US Capitol. Images that shocked the world, including this one behind us of a pro-Trump supporter screaming freedom while inside the Senate chamber.
This next image is one you never thought you'd see in a place like Washington. Capitol Police officers pointing their guns at a door just before the mob stormed its way into the building. Once inside, the intruders ran riot. Here you see a Trump supporter hanging from the balcony in the Senate chamber. America's symbol of democracy coming under assault.
And here's another photo that has gone viral, showing an intruder putting his feet up on the desk of US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. For more pictures from the siege, do visit straitstimes.com.
Here in Singapore, new COVID-19 cases are again in the double digits for the 10th straight day. 33 new infections were confirmed today, with 2 in the community. The remaining 31 imported cases have been placed on stay-home notices or isolated on arrival in Singapore. Among them, 7 are Singaporeans or PRs and 12 are foreign domestic workers.
And an update on a case that has gripped Singapore for over a decade. Singapore teen Felicia Teo's alleged killer is to be remanded for psychiatric evaluation. The man accused of Miss Felicia Teo Wei Ling's murder in 2007 will be remanded for 3 weeks for the evaluation. Ahmad Daniel Muhammad Rafai's case will be heard again in court on January 28th after he undergoes the evaluation at the Changi Prison Complex Medical Centre. The police told the court today that custody of Ahmad was no longer required as they had completed investigations.
Now, despite the pandemic, a strong showing by the resale flat market last year. 82 HDB resale flats were sold for at least $1 million last year, hitting a new high compared with 64 for 2019. These sales made up about 0.35% of the total number of resale flats sold last year. SRX's flash estimates for December also revealed that overall HDB resale prices rose for the 6th consecutive month, bringing the total price rise for 2020 to 6.4%, much more than the 0.3% increase seen in 2019.
The National Trades Union Congress, or NTUC, will be offering one-to-one counselling services to lower-income union members, as well as those whose income has been significantly reduced. This is to help those stressed by the COVID-19 pandemic and job situation. NTUC, which is partnering Psychological Centre Mind Culture in the program, said that more details will be made known in March. The labour movement said it had disbursed more than $16 million to about 33,000 members as of the 18th of December to help those impacted by the pandemic through its NTUC Care Fund.
Let's take a look at what's been trending on social media and sparking conversations today. If you cycle like me, you might be familiar with Tuas Lamp Post 1, an iconic spot for cyclists here. Now, if you didn't know, urban folklore is that cyclists on round island trips will make a pit stop there, take a photo with the lamppost and leave their favourite stickers behind. Taking to Facebook, Transport Minister Ong Ye Kung addressed the matter after images of maintenance contractors clearing the stickers circulated and caused a stir online, and said that an exception will be made with stickers officially allowed from now. Mr. Ong said that the special spot helps cyclists find their way, given that it's a far location and that allowing stickers will brighten up life in Singapore. If you're going to visit, well, take some time to stick away.
And interesting news for animal lovers out there. With an average height of roughly 16 feet, giraffes are the tallest mammals on Earth. Even the shortest giraffes are twice as tall as the average professional basketball player. So imagine the surprise when researchers with the Giraffe Conservation Foundation recently spotted 2 dwarf giraffes in Namibia and Uganda. Both are believed to be affected by a condition similar to skeletal dysplasia, an umbrella term for conditions that affect limb length, including dwarfism, which is really rarely observed amongst wild animals.
Over in sports, the NBA's Boston Celtics and Miami Heat went ahead with their game, even as players said they were disturbed by images of chaos at the US Capitol and the decision not to bring charges against a Wisconsin police officer for an August shooting. In a joint statement prior to the game's tip-off, the team said 2021 is a new year, but some things have not changed, and we play tonight's game with a heavy heart after yesterday's decision in Kenosha. Kenosha County prosecutors in the state of Wisconsin had earlier this week declined to bring charges against Rustin Shesky, a white police officer who shot Jacob Blake 7 times in an incident that prompted nationwide outrage over racial injustice.
Comex IT show fans, tonight is your night. Despite COVID-19, the show will go on, albeit online. Live at Comex IT Show has lined up a series of live streaming events happening every first Thursday of the month, starting from January to March. The Unboxing Live series will feature great deals, product unboxing and giveaways. The first session started at 8 p.m. tonight. More details can be found on the Comex IT Show Facebook page.
So when 2020 has been a difficult year for everyone, and having conversations about mental health is not always the easiest thing to do. The Disconnect Threading Worlds exhibition aims to use art as a medium to hold such challenging conversations.
The works seek to raise awareness of mental health issues, rally mental health professionals together, and highlight the avenues of help available in Singapore. The multimedia exhibition, which will feature 7 works by local social artist duo Honey and Lami, will run up until January 30th at 1 New Road, with smaller satellite exhibitions at various locations in Singapore. The exhibition is free and open to the public.
And that wraps up the Straits Times Newsnight. Do visit straitstimes.com to see more news and videos.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the button below. Have a great evening and we'll see you tomorrow.